Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope that you are feeling well. Today I am going to deliver my lecture on the topic I Have a Dream. Though it is a famous speech which was delivered by Martin Luther King. Before going to start this lesson in detail, let me tell you something about the objectives that we are supposed to attain at the completion of this lesson. First of all, we have the main idea, then words meaning, MCQs, short questions, and most importantly, grammatical structures. Now, before going to start this lesson, let me tell you something about the writer or the speaker of this speech, which was delivered in 1963 by Martin Luther King. So, it was delivered by Martin Luther King, who was born in 1929. And he was died, or he was assassinated in 1968. He was an American Christian minister and activist. He fought for the rights of black people in America. He was also the most visible leader in the civil rights movements of 1955, which started from Montgomery bust boycott. Apart from that, he also advanced civil rights through non-violence. He was a man who tried to achieve his goal by non-violence, rather in peaceful manner. Okay, so he advanced civil rights through non-violence. He also helped to organize the March of 1963 on Washington and delivered this famous speech in the same march. He also won Nobel Peace Prize on October 14, 1964. Apart from that, he also combated against racial inequality through non-violent resistance. Furthermore, Martin Luther King was planning a national occupation of Washington, D.C. in 1967. And this occupation is also known as Poor People's Campaign. In the same attempt, he was assassinated by James Earl Ray. He was assassinated by James Earl Ray when he was going to plan for the occupation of Washington, D.C. in 1968. Okay? Now this was something about the writer, means the speaker of the same famous speech, I Have a Dream. Now let's take a start from the book. Open your books at page 41. I Have a Dream. Dream means vision, fantasy. Dream means vision or fantasy or fancy. Now you see, 50 years ago, 50, score means 20 years, score means 20 years ago, a great American. Now you see, this is an illusion, great American, this is an illusion, ek hawala hai to a historical figure whose name is Abraham Lincoln, who was the 16th president of America. And he prosecuted the civil rights and preserved his nation. He was means that he inaugurated as president of America in 1861 till 1865. Though he was also assassinated, Abraham Lincoln was also assassinated. So here Martin Luther King refers to the great American Abraham Lincoln, who was the president of America in the Civil War, which started in 1861. This Civil War was against northern state, who was in favor of Union, means United Nations, and the second, there were southern state who wants to make a separate confederation. So there was a fight between northern states and southern states. This was considered, or this is called, Civil War of America. So in the same war, Abraham Lincoln prosecuted. He also supported the 13th Amendment, in which means that the Negroes were given civil rights. They were given civil rights. That was Amendment number 1314. Okay. 5 years ago, a great American is Abraham Lincoln, in whose symbolic shadow, symbolic, do you know symbolic? Symbolic means emblematic or representative. Symbolic, alamati. Shadow means reflection. Reflection, shadow, saya. We signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Emancipation means liberty, freedom. Proclamation means public announcement. Proclamation means public announcement. Emancipation means liberty or freedom. Proclamation means public announcement, elan. 5 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Now you see here in Washington DC, a huge mob of people are assembled over there, and he is going to deliver this famous speech, I Have a Dream. He said to the people that they are standing over there at that day under the representative, or what we call emblematic shadow of Abraham Lincoln, who signed Emancipation Proclamation. And this Emancipation Proclamation was basically a decree. It was a directive which means civil rights to the Negroes, to the black people in America. This momentous, now you see this momentous decree. Now once again he refers to Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous means historic. Momentous means historical. Means this historical decree. Do you know decree? Decree means behest, or what we call directive, or what we call a law. Farman, or what we call kanun. This momentous decree, this momentous verdict, directive, moment means historic. It refers to Emancipation Proclamation. Came as a great beacon light. Do you know beacon? Basically beacon is a kind of a fire, is a kind of a signal fire which is burned on the hill in order to give guidance to the ships. So here it means illuminant, tabinda, roshan, beacon, light of hope. Light of hope means umid ki kiran, what we call ray of hope. Now you see this Emancipation Proclamation, which was signed during the Civil War by Abraham Lincoln, okay, that was a kind of hope for the Negroes which were living in America. That was a ray of hope. That was a ray of hope. To whom? To the black people of America. A great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves, those Negro black slaves who were living in America, who had been seared. Those Negroes who are being seared, seared means burned, seared means burned, who are being seared in the flames, flames means in the flashes, flames, surely, flashes or glow, seared in the flames of withering injustice. Withering means decaying, khatam kar dene wala, bilkul pash kar dene wala, decaying. Withering means to decay, devastating. Decaying is basically an adjective, means devastating. Injustice. Injustice means inequity, bensafi. He means to say that proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation, it was a ray of hope which was signed by Abraham Lincoln 100 years ago. Means 5 years ago, means 100 years ago, it was signed by Abraham Lincoln, and this proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation, was a ray of hope for those slaves, for those black or Negro slaves who were living in America. Negro slaves who had been, those Negro slaves who was passing through very hard situation, who were facing very appalling situation, being seared, who were burning in the flames of withering. Withering means devastating, terrible, destructive, injustice and inequity and insafi. It came as a joyous daybreak. Now you see, once again he refers to it. It refers to what? Emancipation Proclamation. That Emancipation Proclamation was a joyous. Joyous means blissful. Blissful. Joyous means blissful. Okay, joyous means blissful. Happy. Happy. Blessing. It was a blissful daybreak. Daybreak means dawn. Morning means that it was the beginning of a new dawn, which was full of what? Which was very blissful, which was very happiest or happier one. To end the long night of captivity. Now you see, this proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation, was the beginning of a new day for the Negroes, for the Negro slaves, because what? It caused to end the long night, means long life, long lasting. Captivity means confinement, imprisonment, care. So before the Emancipation Proclamation, it means that the Negroes were not given their equal rights, their due rights, so that is why they were living in a kind of confinement or imprisonment. But 100 years later, we must face the tragic fact. 100 years later, even after 100 years, it means that Martin Luther King was delivering this famous speech in 1963. So, and the Emancipation Proclamation was also, it was signed 100 years before 1963. So that is why he says that 100 years ago, this Emancipation Proclamation was signed by Abraham Lincoln. But 100 years later, now it means that 100 years later, even in 1963, still we must face the tragic factor. Tragic, do you know tragic? Tragic means lamenting or lamentable, deploring, tragic, deplorable और lamentable, जिस पे मातम किया जाए, tragic, जिस क्या हो, जिसमें गम हो, अफसोस हो. We must face the tragic fact that the Negro is still not free. Even after the proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation, even after 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, the Negroes are not free. Still they are not free. They are living a life of what? Imprisonment, of confinement. They are not given the equal rights. Not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled. Still, their life is not up to the mark. They are still passing through very hard situation. They are passing through very hard times. Their life is still sadly means badly. The life of Negroes is still sadly means badly. Crippled. Crippled means disabled. Disabled, which is of no use, which is dependent upon very harsh time, very bad time, by the manacles of segregation. Now you see, still their life is very bad, and their life by the manacles. Manacle means handcuffs. Manacles, bedia. What we call chains. Handcuffs, chains of segregation. Segregation means separation. Means that the Negroes are still in this prosperous America. They are still living in exile. They are living alone. Means they are living alone and or in loneliness. And their life are completely disabled. They are crippled. They are passing through very hard time. And they are by the manacle of segregation. Now you see, their life has been battered or battered, that has been slashed down by what? By separation. They are living separately. They are living alone on island. And the chains of discrimination. Discrimination means prejudice, tassub, tafriq, farq. Okay, means just because of prejudice treatment towards the Negroes, they are living in loneliness. They are living in segregation. 100 years later, the Negro lives on lonely island. They are still living on a lonely. They are living alone on an island, deprived of every kind of material prosperity. They are living a very hard time, which is very, that is very disgusting, very sad on the part of the government. Discrimination, the Negro lives on lonely island of poverty in the midst of vast ocean of material prosperity. Material means financial prosperity. Material refers to money. Monetary means that the Negro are still living in a very poor condition, and they are deprived of material prosperity. They have been given no financial advantages. They are not being benefited financially. So that is why they are living lonely in a very bad and appalling situation. Okay, now after reading and explanation of this passage, let me discuss some grammatical structures in the same lesson. Okay, first of all, we have a great American. A great American, you see, this in itself, this is noun phrase. This is noun because the main word is this one. A great means American. A great. This is determiner, and this is what we call modifier. In whose refers to this one. So in whose is basically a relative pronoun, and this is a relative clause. This is a relative because it relate this American. So this is what we call in whose is a relative pronoun. This is a relative pronoun, and this is combined in relative clause. This momentous degree came. Momentous, this is adjective. This is also demonstrative adjective. This degree, this momentous degree. So this is momentous also, this is adjective. As a great. Now you see as. Here as refers to light. Light. So here it has been used as a preposition. As can be used as a preposition, as can be used as a conjunction, as can be used as an adverb. As an adverb. For example, we say he is as beautiful. So beautiful is an adjective. It refers to adjective. Here it is used as an adverb. Then we have the next. In the flames of segregation, weathering in the flames of weathering. Weathering, you see, this is a combination of weather plus ing. So this is also an adjective. It tells us about this injustice. Clear? So this is what we call. Now the next we have Negro is still not free. It refers to free. This adjective. So still is adverb because it tells about adjective. Not is also adverb. We call it adverb of affirmation. This not is also adverb. We call it adverb of affirmation. I hope that you have understood these few grammatical structures and translation. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.